What's going on, everybody? Jake Baker here with the Bloomington Edge, covering all things football. We're going to go through the usual and then also cover some trades that are awesome this week. First thing we're talking about, DeAndre Hopkins, 8 receptions, 224 yards, and 1 touchdown for a total of 36.4 fantasy points, developing a lot of good chemistry with Deshaun Watson over the last couple of games. Then Russell Wilson, only 5 incompletions this past week, threw for over 450 yards, 4 touchdowns, and only 1 interception for a total of 35.1 points. Had that big win over Houston. Russell Wilson has been really sharp all year long. Deshaun Watson, he had over 400 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, but he did throw 3 interceptions, one of those interceptions being a pick six. But he also had 8 rushes for 67 yards, but he didn't come away with the win. But still a really solid week fantasy-wise, 32.8 points. And then Juju Smith for the Steelers, 7 receptions, 193 yards, and a touchdown. A guy that got a lot of criticism coming into the league through the draft, but certainly proved a lot of people wrong with 32.3 points in fantasy this week. And then we got Jack Doyle, who struggled with catching the football at the beginning of the season, a ton of drops. But this week, 12 receptions, 121 yards, and 1 touchdown for Indianapolis, 30.1 points, so a good week for him. Then we got Will Fuller, another guy in Houston who has been connecting with Deshaun Watson on a regular basis. Got into the end zone twice this week, 5 receptions, 125 yards, and 29.5 points. Some injuries. Injuries have not been as bad this week. There was one bad one being Zach Miller, who had that pretty gruesome leg injury. He was trying to catch that touchdown pass in the end zone and then snaps his leg, and he's out for the season, which is terrible. But the surgery went well, which is good to hear. Then Myles Garrett, just questionable to start this week. Tweaked something in last week's game, so hopefully Cleveland can get him in the lineup. They're going to need him on his pass rush. Ezekiel Elliott is suspended again, so we're going to see if that holds out. But if it does, it's going to be 6 games. Make sure you guys pay attention to that. Emmanuel Sanders didn't play last week for Denver, and they're certainly going to need him to get back into the lineup because that offense is flat, and they need some life to it. So Emmanuel Sanders is going to have to be that factor that comes back into that offense. And we got John Simon from the Indianapolis Colts. He's questionable again this week. They're going to need him to come back. He's their leading tackler. He's the only one who kind of put some life into that defense, so hopefully he can get back into that lineup. Then we got Jameis Winston, who had the injured shoulder late in the fourth quarter of last week's game, but knowing Jameis, I'm sure he's going to want to go this week, and he's going to be good to go, but just something to keep in mind. My stardoms this week, I'm going to go ahead and start Philadelphia defense, who's playing Denver. Denver can't find that identity on the offensive side of the ball, and Philadelphia's been as sharp as attack all year. I think they're going to force some decent turnovers and score quite a bit of points. DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, 2 guys that have hooked up all season long, and they're playing Indianapolis, who struggle against defending the pass. So I'd go ahead and start those 2 if they're not already in your lineup. Then we have Alvin Kamara for New Orleans playing Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay struggles to cover the running back coming out of the backfield, which is what Alvin Kamara likes to do in the red zone with the Saints, so I'd go ahead and give him in the start. Adrian Peterson with Carson Palmer being out with that injury, I think they're going to give him the ball 25-plus times going up against San Francisco, who struggles to stop the run in the first place, so expect him to get in the end zone at least once. LaShawn McCoy going up against the Jets. The Jets have been involved in a ton of shootout games this year. Their defense hasn't been doing much of anything to stop the opposing team's offense. I think LaShawn McCoy is going to be running up and down the field this week. And then T.Y. Hilton playing Houston. Houston's got that depleted pass rush with J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless being on the disabled list. So I think T.Y. and Jacoby Brissett are going to hook up a couple times in the end zone this week. My sit-ems this week, I'm going to go ahead and sit Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Stewart. They're playing Atlanta. Atlanta struggles in pass defense, but they make up for it in their run defense. They're really solid there. So I go ahead and sit those 2. Jay Ajayi, who is traded to the Eagles and going up against Denver this week. Denver has the second-ranked rush defense, and they're just solid all around the defensive end. And Jay Ajayi has had an off year, so I'd go ahead and sit him for this week. Andy Dalton playing Jacksonville. Andy Dalton has been up and down all year long, but Jacksonville has been solid as a rock, and they're playing really good on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to have a ton of success against them. And then Robbie Anderson and Jermaine Kearse, they're playing Buffalo. Buffalo does not let up a lot of touchdowns via the pass, so I'd go ahead and sit those 2. I don't think they're going to be getting into the end zone this week. Marcus Mariota playing Baltimore. Baltimore has a really solid pass defense, and then their rush defense is not as good, so I think that Tennessee's going to be focusing on putting the ball on the ground a little bit more rather than focusing on Marcus Mariota, who's been a little shaken up the past couple weeks to throw the football. Then we got Aaron Jones playing against Detroit. Detroit's the 7th-ranked rush defense in the league, and Aaron Jones has had a couple good games the past week, so I'm sure it's a point of emphasis for Detroit to kind of plug up that run game for Green Bay this week, so I'd go ahead and sit him. Here's the schedule. As always, guys, take a look at that. Check out some matchups that you want to tune into this week. So some key trades that went down this week. Jimmy Garoppolo traded to San Francisco for the 2nd-round pick. I don't really know what the Patriots were thinking here. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a little bit more valuable than just a 2nd-round pick straight up. So I don't know if there's something he was asking for too much money or what was going on there, but definitely a steal for San Francisco. Another steal here, J.J. traded to Philadelphia for just a 4th-round pick. I know J.J.'s having an off year, hasn't been getting in the end zone, not being as productive as the Dolphins want, but a 4th-round pick certainly wasn't enough in my eyes. Then the Pro Bowl tackle, DeJuan Brown, traded to Seattle for Jeremy Lane, the corner, along with a 2018 5th-round pick. So this is the only trade that was fair for both sides. It was good to see two teams benefit from this trade. And then Kelvin Benjamin traded to the Bills for a 3rd and a 7th-round pick. The Bills finally have that red zone threat they've been looking for. I don't look at Kelvin Benjamin as an elite receiver, but I think he's definitely a solid guy that's going to help him get into the end zone a little bit more. As always, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. So check out our Facebook and Twitter page at Bloomington Edge, and also our website at www.bloomingtonedge.net. There you can check out some events that we're going to be at the next couple of weeks. You can also give our ticket packages on our site a check, and we have some awesome promotions going on in the month of November. It's basically pick your own promotion. So if you guys are interested, just give us a call to that number at the bottom of the screen, which is 484-840-3343. As always, I wish you guys the best of luck in this next fantasy week, and you guys should tune in next week for an awesome show.